Hello and welcome back to the Villa View for another match preview as Aston Villa head to Portman Road to face Ipswich Town. So Matt, thanks for joining me last minute once again. I've got a little bit of a cough, it's boiling hot outside, the dogs just woke up, so it's probably going to be a quick preview. Obviously Ipswich tomorrow night, we've just had Steve Bruce's press conference come online. What do you think about this game?
It's a must-win. It's as simple as that from so many perspectives, from the fact that this Ipswich side crushed in the last 5 minutes against Nottingham Forest last weekend. I saw they were just all over the place. They were 1-0 up until the 85th minute, and then before you know it, they're 2-1 down and they've lost the game. And that's the tale of their season, though, and that's why Mick McCarthy isn't in charge anymore. So it should be a must-win, especially at Portman Road, where their form isn't great either. This is a game where we've got to go and win, and we've got to try and sort of keep that momentum as such going, because I think it's more than likely now that we have got the playoffs, but there's that faint bit of hope, given the fixtures that Fulham and Cardiff have got, that we can get automatic. So whilst we've got the opportunities, we've got to keep up the gas still and keep pushing forwards and not trying to experiment, because it's not the time right now. Yeah,
I think Bruce mentioned that Terry should be back fit, but if he's not 100%, he's not, you won't risk him. I think Codger's already out as well. I think he said something like with the injury he's had, that's expected to be a little bit sore, I think is what he said. So you can tell that now we've confirmed our position in the playoffs. Second is mathematically possible, but almost certainly not going to happen. It's important to keep those players rested. The likes of Grealish, Codger, Terry. You're going to need those in a playoff final if you get that far.
Yeah, it's an important thing to keep that squad rotation going. It's something that I said previously that Bruce is guilty of this season, the fact that there's not a squad rotation in place where there's a clear sort of pattern of players that will swap with each other and keep each other fresh, for example. So we need to sort of find that sometime soon, because we're going to struggle else. I think Jedinak's done a great job at deputising for John Terry at the back. But I think that's just because of the opposition we played. I don't think that Jedinak is a long-term solution as a backup for rotation. I don't think he is. So we've got to try and find that sort of solution in terms of rotation. But equally, if they're fit, you play them, because it keeps their form going, and that's what's more than important, is keeping the form of the actual players as well.
What do you think about the Mick McCarthy situation from the outside looking in? Because obviously, he's been there a few years now, and then it came out that he'd be leaving at the end of the season, and then a couple of games later, it's like he has his press conference, he's like, "Oh, all right, see you there, I'm going now." What's happened there?
He's been on a shoestring budget for so long, and I think that possibly there's a lack of communication between the fans and the owners, and it's meant that Mick McCarthy's had to face the brunt of it. Because he's had to face the brunt of it, he gets all the stick regarding the fact that this squad isn't the best by any stretch of the imagination, and equally the results and the playing style hasn't been great either. And I think Ipswich fans wanted a little bit more, but don't get me wrong, he steadied that ship. They were close to dropping down into League One, and he had them in the playoffs 2 years later. Yeah. So, he's done a great job there. There's no shaking about that. He's one of the best sort of experienced Championship managers, you could say, and I think he'll walk into a job next season. I think that Derby County is possibly a good example, because of their playoffs hopes at the moment look very unlikely.
We always talk about it looks like we could come up against a new manager every team we play by the looks of it. Ipswich haven't got a manager in just yet. How does that affect the game that they're playing for? I don't know who's in charge, but I imagine it's a coach or somebody who was already there. How does that affect the way the players play? Are they going to be lifted by McCarthy not being there?
Having watched them against Nottingham Forest last weekend, not all, because the goal was just a bit against the players. Such they weren't great. They were better in the first half than Forest, and that meant they got that goal into the second half, and they crumbled at the 85 minutes. They conceded a penalty, and then they let Joe Lolly sneak in at the back post for an amazing volley, actually, in fairness, late into stoppage time. That's demoralising as anything, and it's just about how they react to that. Do they go out there now and try and show something that they're not going to be that team where they'll sink in the last 5 minutes, or are they going to just continue that form because they can't be asked, to phrase it a better term?
But I think their form, I was looking for the form going, I think it's something like 1 win in 7 or 1 win in 8. Obviously no danger of going down. They're not going to make the playoffs, not going to go up or anything like that. So it's a middle of the road game. How does that affect how this game is played?
They've got nothing to play for.
Yeah.
And I always said that with other teams before, and it's not gone well. I know Dan has definitely in a preview, but it gives us some hope that we can go there and put a performance on, because we're starting to find a Sky Sports hoodoo again. We need to shake that one off, especially with the playoffs coming up both on Sky Sports. I think that Ipswich should be on the holidays, or so I hope anyway. If they're on the holidays, we need to up the tempo and take them to the cleaners, so to speak. I think that's the only way we can go about this game. We can't approach it any other way than with a professional aspect to it and a high tempo. I think if we go there with not a high tempo, it'll be a dull 0-0 because Ipswich will not be playing at a high tempo. And if we try to go the same and go boot to boot with them, then it's just pointless because it just will be a 0-0. So we need to up the tempo and go against them sort of man for man, create chances and do something that's going to set a light and show the fact that this Aston Villa team means business at this point of the season, and that whether it's the playoffs or we're going to push Fulham to that last end, bitter end, the same with Cardiff, then so be it. Show it though with the performance against a side that, as you say, has won 1 in their last 8 or 7.
So Codger's obviously out for tomorrow. Terry could come back in depending on whether he's 100% or not. What team would you play if you were picking the side for this game?
I think James Bree was unfortunate not to be on that side last weekend for Leeds. So I could see him coming in quite easily, but Neil Taylor didn't do a bad job against Leeds. Centre back, obviously, I think it's going to be James Chester alongside John Terry, because John Terry seems to be fit. And then right back, El Mohammadi. I think that Snodgrass has looked slightly jaded recently, in the same for Adoma, as harsh as that may sound against them. Possibly to do that, you either bring Al Mohammadi forwards to a right mid position and put Alan Hudson at right back, or something along those lines. I think it's possible. Into the midfield, I think that sort of picks itself right now. Jack Grealish, Conor Hourihane, and then Glenn Whelan, who, to be honest, has done a good job more recently. He's found a bit of form. So I don't see any reason not to play him. And then up front, Lewis Grubben. He's getting the goals at the moment, so it'd be a no-brainer to play him. And then, to be fair as well, though, you look at it, and equally Scott Hogan could do a job, and it'd be nice to see him score. But at the moment, Lewis Grubben's the one that's in form, so I'd go with him. So
what's your prediction for this game then? You can still get involved in the fan score. Neither you or I are going to finish in the top 10, probably not even the top 100 at this point. But what's your prediction?
I was doing okay, in fairness.
I don't know where I am, to be honest.
Yeah, about February and it went downhill. But I think we'll win 3-0. First goal scorer, Grubben.
God, that's confident. Obviously, you saw Ipswich last game, so you've seen how they fell apart at the end. So I'm going to take your points on board. I'm going to go 2-0 and Whelan to score, just because I like a random choice. So thanks to Matt once again for helping me out on this preview a little bit last minute. As mentioned at the start, a little bit shorter. Though it's not too great, I'd rather be sat outside, to be honest, in this weather. It's boiling hot in this room. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, as always. Leave your thoughts below in the comments section and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.